It means that there are some descriptions of God that are not proper to God until God actually does something.
Okay, you said some attributes of God. Okay.
I've been saying that all the way along. Okay. You just haven't been listening.
Okay, I agree with you then.
Right, you agree with me? Brilliant. So you're now one step closer to Christianity and one step further away from Islam.
Action!
Please. Guys, just answer this question logically. If I lived alone on an island with no other people around, could I lie? Could I lie?
Yes, you can.
Could I lie? No. No, I couldn't lie.
You can lie to yourself. Exactly. You can lie to yourself.
Lying to yourself, you can't escape the fact that you know the truth. Every person, guys, cognitive dissonance is a psychological and emotional problem. What you're talking about is cognitive dissonance. It's commonly known as lying to yourself, but what you're describing is cognitive dissonance, and it is a psychologically, pathologically prescriptive condition. Because everyone who lies to themselves at some subconscious level knows the truth. Okay? So, let me give you another example. If I lived on an island, could I steal? No. If I lived on an island, could I show mercy? No. Why?
I never said show mercy.
Why?
I said, is he inherently merciful? Yes, he is.
Why?
He has the ability to be merciful.
Because, brother, if there is no one to be merciful to, you cannot be merciful.
No, he has inherent mercy. You're not getting it.
Could you not steal?
Doesn't exist. Sorry?
Animals living on the island? Could you not steal from animals?
Oh, bro, we're talking about if you lived alone. That was part of the description. I did. I literally said if you lived alone.
They don't know what they do.
So, the point is, guys, that Islam has self-contradiction in its very descriptions of God.
What is the difference?
And Allah says that if his religion has contradictions in it, it's not from God. So ergo, according to the Islamic test, Islam is proven false. You should stop being Muslim and you should look at Christianity again.
That means you limited God's mercy. Because I never said about showing mercy. I said, does he have the ability to be merciful? And yes, he is.
To who?
No, I'm saying inherently he's mercy.
You said, right, ability.
And I said to you very clearly.
To who?
I said to you very clearly that recognition of someone's activity, it's for us. God does not need to be recognized whether he's merciful or not. He's already merciful. That's what.
To who?
The point. No, it's not about to who.
No, it really is.
No, it's his inherent.
Here's
nature.
why it is logically.
It's his inherent nature.
Okay, let me deal with that argument. Here's why it really is about the to who. Because the only way that you can square the circle is if you can give me an example of mercy that doesn't depend upon a transaction. If you can't, then that means that mercy is about a transaction, and so the to who is important.
Well, actually, sorry, could you repeat that statement? I'll just
So,
the process.
The argument is that the to who is not important. But the reason why it's important is because it cuts to the very heart of what being merciful means. Now, he can win this argument. All he has to do is give an example of mercy that isn't a transaction. But if he can't give that, let me finish. If he can't give that example, then that means inherent to the idea of mercy is the idea of transaction, and so my argument is valid.
Who said God's mercy is by transaction? You said that.
What?
Who said? Are you right?
Hay fever.
No, you're
It's just hay fever.
No problem. You're saying that mercy can only be enveloped by transaction basis, right? That's what you're saying.
You've got the floor for a minute. You'll have to talk.
Okay.
No, it's just it'll pass. Hay fever's just kicking my ass.
We're not saying that God's mercy has a transaction. God, if he wanted to create his creation, he can.
And what I'm saying is that you're not talking about mercy then.
No, I'm saying.
You've got mercy for the human.
I'm saying.
You've got mercy for that is natural.
I'm listening to you. You're making better arguments.
I'm saying that God's mercy is not dependent upon His creation, because God's mercy is part of His essence.
And what
He created, whether He shows His mercy to His creation or not, that doesn't matter. Why? Because we believe that despite His essence, He's merciful.
Right.
That's it.
So this is why I'm inviting you to a better religion than Islam, right? Because we make a distinction between God's essence, notice that word, and God's energies, which is His actions. We make that distinction, which is why we don't struggle with this concept that you are now struggling with, in which you understand the word mercy in a particular way, but then you can't apply it to God before creation.
No, I'm saying He has the ability.
No, you literally have failed.
I just said He has the ability to be merciful.
That.
I said He has to show mercy in order for Him to be merciful.
Would you agree that?
I'm saying He's inherently merciful whether He creates or not, because He has that ability. It's in His essence. So it doesn't really matter. That only applies to human activity. It doesn't apply.
But what is mercy?
What is mercy?
Yeah, what is mercy?
According to our understanding, mercy is. Mercy is not actually a good definition of Rahman. It's not actually a good definition of Rahman. It has it because
You don't look Arab.
No, I'm not an Arab.
Are you an Arabic speaker?
No, I'm Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. Are you an Arabic speaker?
No, I'm not an Arab.
Suddenly, Rahman shouldn't be translated as mercy.
Rahman
is the full mercy, not mercy.
because mercy comes with mercy means when the
Ask me
ruler
any question
has
in the
the
Qur'an.
power to execute punishment, but he decides not to. Okay?
Right.
So Rahman is. You can't really translate it. It's quite hard.
So it is the idea that God can execute punishment, but doesn't.
But that's not what Rahman actually means. It's quite
Even that example is still dependent upon another party.
No.
Yes, it is.
No, I'm
Because
saying-
if there wasn't someone that could be punished, Allah couldn't withhold the
Does that
punishment.
mean he's dependent upon his creation?
Yes.
So you're saying he's not independent?
So what we're saying is,
His existence is he independent?
so let me address that question. So what we're saying is, right, to answer the last question first, is his existence dependent? Absolutely not. Because that is one of the properties that is of his essence, existence.
Right.
Doesn't depend on anything. But the energies of God, God's activities, are dependent upon God's essence. They don't hang on creation, they hang on the fact of something inside of God.
So we can only recognize God if He created something. He created.
We can only recognize God as creator because He creates, and He is only the creator at the point
So
that He
if
creates.
He didn't create,
He wouldn't be
still exist.
creator.
No, would He still exist?
Yes, of course He would.
Okay, but does He have the ability to create?
Yes, because He's all powerful.
There you go. So
But you're not listening.
You're actually confirming
You're
what I'm
not
saying.
listening.
I've said that many times.
That's because He's all powerful.
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't make Him a creator,
That's what I'm
though.
saying. He has the ability.
So you're saying He wasn't always the creator?
He was always the creator.
There.
Irrespective.
You don't even see the contradiction,
Hang
bro.
on. He has the ability to create.
Okay.
Okay? So irrespective whether he creates or not, he's still the creator. Why?
Let's
he has
try-
the ability to create.
Let's try and
It's about free will. He has the will. If he wants the will to create, he creates. He wasn't.
So notice what he's doing there. We're talking about the attribute of creator. One specific attribute.
Before he did it.
And what we're trying to what I'm pointing out is, if you assert that Allah has always been the creator, then that means you are inherently contradicting logic
that means
and yourself.
that
Let me
means that means
finish.
you're insinuating
Let me
that God
finish.
has a beginning.
Let me finish. No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No,
Because
it
what you're saying-
doesn't.
That means God doesn't. Have
No,
the
it
ability
doesn't.
To create unless he
Because
creates.
what you then did is you tried to shift the argument away from the fact that you assert that God has always been the creator
Yes, he's always been.
to the idea that God has free will and so He could
He's all
create.
powerful. He's all powerful.
But someone who could create has the potentiality.
That's what I'm saying.
That doesn't make him creator. You are not a father just because
But that's the.
you are not the father just because you have sperm.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you this question again.
You're not an inventor just because you have a mind.
I'm going to ask you.
You're not a murderer. You're not a murderer until you kill someone. You're not a rapist until you rape someone.
Okay, wait. If God-
Potentiality is not equivalent to actuality.
But you're confirming what I'm saying because he has the ability
I'm really not.
I'm saying he's all powerful. He has the ability to create.
Potentiality.
No, he has the ability to create.
That's potentiality.
So he's the creator.
Are you saying potentiality and actuality are the same?
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying inherently.
No.
Inherently.
So potentiality.
No, inherently.
Potentiality.
No, inherently.
Potentiality.
Wait, let me speak. Inherently, he's the creator.
Which is
Whether he thinks or not,
potentiality.
he's still the creator.
Right, 1 second. You are this is why Islam has logical contradictions. You are making potentiality and actuality equivalents. We Christians don't do that. We say that there is a distinction between the potentialities of God.
Does he have the potential?
One
to
second,
not
one
exist?
second, 1 second. We talk about the potentialities of God that are derivatives of God's essence. Those things that are of God's essence are independent of anything else. Those things that are potentialities have some connection to the essence and to the activity of God in creation. In other words, we Christians don't say God is the creator until the point he creates, which is logic. But that doesn't mean that God doesn't exist, or that God is not all-powerful, or that God doesn't have a mind. But in Islam, you try to assert two contradictory things. One, God is completely self-sufficient in everything. Two, that God is merciful or a creator, but both being merciful and a creator require something else.
Not to God, no. Because he is still the creator.
So who was the creator? Who was it?
He has the ability to create, so he's the
That is
creator.
potentiality,
So he's the creator.
not actuality. Do you understand the difference between potential and actual?
Yeah, I did.
Right. What's the difference between potential and
Potential
actual?
means it hasn't materialized yet. Actuality means it has materialized. Okay? So
Y-
so what I'm saying is, irrespective if God creates or not, he is still the creator. Why? Because he has the ability to create.
Of what? What he's created?
Because he's not dependent. He's not dependent upon his creation.
But he hasn't created anything.
That's what. Look,
Whatever. He's still.
Wait. In order, look, we say he's the creator.
Yeah.
Irrespective whether he has the creation or not.
I get that, and that's why I'm saying is a contradiction.
No, it's not contradiction.
And I've proven to you it is a contradiction. Even you think it's a contradiction.
No.
Because you can't give me an example of mercy that doesn't involve a transaction.
But you're talking about activity. I'm
Right.
talking about inherent.
I have the potential.
Divine
Right.
essence. I'm talking
Brother,
about the essence.
me and you have the potential to kill people. Does that make us killers?
But Moses, why
No, it doesn't make us killers.
don't speak with God?
It doesn't.
That's my point.
Yeah.
It means that there are some descriptions of God that are not proper to God until God actually does something.
Okay, you said some attributes of God. Okay.
I've been saying that all the way along. You just haven't been listening.
Okay, I agree with you then.
Right, you agree with me? Brilliant. So you're now one step closer to Christianity and one step further away from Islam.
So I think you're saying everything. You said everything.
I'm talking about specific attributes.
Specific, okay.
Specific. I really did. Did I? Who heard me say specific attributes?
Okay, if I misheard it, I apologize.
Jehovah's Witness.
So here we go, bro. Right, if you accept the Christian logic about our description of God, then that means you have now at this moment in time rejected Orthodox Sunni Islam. Because Orthodox Sunni Islam argues against what I'm saying. So, and you've accepted it based upon the logic of the argument. Because you don't want to defend contradiction, and I applaud you for that. I'm not attacking you, I'm saying that is a good thing. But now what I'm saying is you owe it to yourself to learn about Christianity again, do the appropriate comparison to Islam, and when you recognize what I've already recognized, to reject as Allah commands you to reject, anything other from Allah would have many contradictions. Yes, you should reject the Quran. Yeah, you should reject the Quran.
We follow you.
And then look
Sorry,
at Christ.
You are wrong. You are right.
That's what I'm asking you to do.
All
Right, but however,
Please, can you give me a
I
chance?
appreciate.
Anyway, shall we finish?
Yeah, I'll finish. You appreciate
It was really, one second.
If I did offend you, I
It was really nice.
If I offended you,
No, not at all. Actually, it's been a very pleasant conversation.
Again, it's simple thing. Moses, peace upon him, as a prophet, he asked to see God. What happened to him?
I'm not taking it off.
That's it.
just giving him a book.
Tell me the story about it. If you are clever. More philosophy clever.
Bro, I want to give you a book.
No.
This is a Gospel of John. Do you have a Gospel of John?
I do have the Bible at home.
Do you really?
I do. My sister bought it.
Your sister bought your Bible?
Yeah, she studied.
Okay. You're not lying before Allah now, right now, are you?
I'm not lying.
Okay, so pick up that Bible, have a read of it, and come and talk to me.
My sister bought New International Version, KJV, so she just bought it like a month ago.
Yeah. You pick them up, have a read of them, and then write down your questions and come and talk to me again.
Look, I will never lie. I'll never do that. If I will say this one thing. When I come out the park, I can never lose. I either affirm what I say is true, or I learn something.
Yeah.
So
That's a good attitude.
So I have a good attitude. So yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. You learned something about Christian history, and you learned something about Christian theology. But perhaps maybe don't make such bombastic claims about people like Constantine and about your knowledge of the Christian
But in
faith.
terms of the theology side, I'm still not.
Okay, we'll talk about it again. So you had a question.
You know the story of Moses, peace upon him?
Sorry?
Moses, peace upon him, as a prophet.
Yes, in the general scope, yeah.
Did you read about it?
In the general scope, yeah.
Did you read about him?
Yes, I've read the story of Moses.
How he been as a prophet and he asked to see God.
Yes.
What happened to him?
God said, you can't see my face, but I'll show you my back parts, and I'll put you in a cleft of the rock. So let me just reply to the camera. 1 second. Let me just, no, 1 second. So let me just, you just got to deal with the quacks. Where's the microphone? Great. So you'll just have to pay attention to my voice, guys, because you do get this. So let me just deal with that question that this brother said. Do you know the story of Moses? Do you know what happened? And I said, God said, you can't see my face, you can only see my parts, and I'll put you in the cleft of the rock, and then he'll pass by. And he walked off as if he proudly had won some kind of argument. And this kind of attitude of Muslims here in the park that do that happens again and again and again. Because they're frightened of real discussion. Because in the Qur'an, it said that Allah spoke from a burning bush. And Muslims believe that the attributes of Allah can't be separated or divided. For Allah is one. So if Allah's voice was spoken from the bush, then that means Allah was present in the bush. So he was inside creation. So Muslims have exactly the same idea in their religion. It's just that what their scholars tell them and what their Quran tells them don't line up. Because their scholars defined Islam in argument against Christianity, not based upon reading directly from the Quran. And so they say one thing as scholars and their books say something else. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed that.
You didn't tell me how many pages in Bible.
I've no idea. I don't know.
You know everything.
No,
Tell me.
I don't know. You don't know. Right guys, I'm going to do some talks. I'm not interested. No, I'm not interested.
And Bible is only 200 pages.
Brilliant, you're right, absolutely.
And Torah is a 700 pages.
Really, brilliant, fantastic.
And it's been put together.
Great.
It's lies.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
By Muslim copied from Torah and Bible.
Yes, totally.
And the Quran did not copy anybody.
Okay, you're right.
Quran is word of Allah.
Brilliant.
Word of God.
Thank you.
And I am
Shall we go
son
now?
of God. I am son of God. So you are saying
What do you want to do?
I'm going to do some talks. Guys, I'm going to do some talks if you want to hear them.
Jesus, peace upon him.